Hey guys, Nishquik here, and welcome back to the EXP podcast. So we recently had a very exciting and very loaded Nintendo Direct for this June, and I thought who better to have on the channel than my buddy Skylink Theory, now rebranded from Skylink Shock to Skylink Theory.
Yep.
You guys might remember him from some live streams we did with Super Mario 3D World and some other stuff we've been playing, and then we reacted to the Game Awards together. That was a lot of fun. So, Skylink, you want to give a little bit of an introduction before we jump into the discussion about this Direct?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it has been a little bit of time since I've last been on this channel, but you know, me and Nishquik, we always have good times, good talks, good discussions. Yeah, I'm freaking ready to discuss this. The Direct was amazing. I'll probably go in more into this in a second, but it's my second favorite Direct.
Oh, that's high praise.
Yeah,
that's a good thing to start on, but I just want to let you guys know Skylink does a whole lot of like Zelda theories and like just general Nintendo content. His channel will be linked in the description below. You can check it out. You definitely should. But yeah, let's jump into it. Like, so
yeah,
you said this is your second favorite Direct of all time, right? Because
yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm in a minority, but I am not one of those people saying this is the best Direct ever. And I loved it. I even struggle to say that I loved it. I really enjoyed the Direct. I really enjoyed my time watching it and reacting to it. The game lineup was very, very robust, like very, very robust lineup in that Direct. But what makes this your favorite Direct, and what is your favorite Direct? Because I will also give you like some of my favorite Directs as well. Start it off.
Oh, okay, so I'll say this. If we're counting, because it's interesting when we notice the brand Direct, right? Because if we're counting the January 2017 Switch presentation,
that's easily the best.
Yeah, if that counts as a Direct, then this past Direct would be my third favorite.
Okay.
But if we're literally just sticking with the Nintendo Direct brand, like that specific like type of thing, then yeah, this is my second favorite. And yeah, so man, I mean, it was a great, really good Direct. I was thinking about this earlier about like which is my favorite Direct. And I really went through a bunch of them, and it was tough really to make the call, but I would say the best one, in my opinion, the one that made me go the most crazy, I also had like an emotional connection to it, was E3 2019.
The Tears of the Kingdom first reveal. The sequel to Breath of the Wild is now in development.
Yes, and then also announcing Link's Awakening. I'm also a big Luigi's Mansion fan, although I'm not.
That had a big Luigi's Mansion 3 showcase there.
Yeah, I'm actually not the biggest fan about Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which we could talk about later. But I do love the Luigi's Mansion series as a whole.
Yeah. And that one also had Dragon Quest 11. That was a nice show. And then there was
the opener and the closer were both Smash Bros.
Oh yeah. Hero and Banjo. That was nice to see.
Yeah, that was so crazy. That was unbelievable. And the trailers for those characters was so cool because you like didn't know who it was. Like you actually like, especially the Hero trailer, like it's literally Link fighting with like the evil dark version of Meta Knight and Marth. And you literally have no idea who's gonna be revealed. That was awesome. That was an awesome experience. And then we got 2 Zelda games. I also never played Link's Awakening, so that was like a new game for me. Luigi's Mansion 3 was big. And then that was just a big Direct for me. I also went to that E3 in person. That was the last.
Nice.
That was actually the last E3. Was E3 2019.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I live in Southern California, so I was able to go make the trip out to E3. I went 2018 and 2019, and I mean, it's very sad that E3
that's awesome.
Gone.
I'm kind of jealous because I've always wanted to go to E3 and never had a chance to go. So that's awesome that you got the chance to go.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for it. It's very sad and heartbreaking.
It's officially
that it's
gone
over.
now.
Yeah, I saw this is like before I really got into YouTube, but I actually saw like 3 big Zelda YouTubers, Commonwealth Realm, Dr. Wily, and Zeltic. I saw them from a distance.
Oh.
But I was in line for Luigi's Mansion 3, to play the demo, and that was like a 3-hour wait. So like I was already halfway through. I'm like, maybe I'll see them later, and I never saw them, which kind of sucked. So
I remember seeing their reaction to the sequel to Breath of the Wild, as we called it then. That was epic.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I watched that at home, and I still have my I didn't do YouTube or anything then, but I still have my Snapchat video of me reacting to that. I was like, oh my god, what?
Dude, I reacted to it on Snapchat as well. I sent it to a couple of my buddies that are also into Zelda.
I recorded that, and then I recorded the banjo reveal. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was a good direct, man.
So
that
for
was
me,
cool.
Comparing this direct to other directs, it's a good one, but I would say this maybe ranks, like, this is gonna sound crazy because everyone's like best direct, top 3, number 1, all that stuff, right? This is like number 4 for me of best directs, and that might sound...
really? That's still pretty high for you then.
Yeah, it's high because I mean, the big announcements we got were big, and like one of those announcements was something we've been waiting for so long, which we'll talk about later. But my 2 favorite directs of all time were February 2022 and February 2023. And the main reason for 2022 was like, you know, I'm a huge RPG fan. I love JRPGs. I love those kinds of games. And that direct had so many just back, like all over the place. Like Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. I was like a little like kind of like, what the heck? Fire Emblem Warriors? Oh man. I was still like in the like mindset of I want a new Fire Emblem game. Eventually we got engaged, which is nice. But Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, that was cool. That was a nice announcement.
Yeah, I went crazy for that one.
Then we saw Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings come to NSO. I was like, whoa, that's so cool. I can finally play these games, which I still haven't yet, but I will eventually. Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers was also huge. I was like, wow, I can't wait to finally play Chrono Cross. I eventually like waited it out and said I'll play Chrono Trigger first and then I'll play Cross. Still haven't played Cross, but I'll get to it eventually. But that was very awesome to see, and I said in my mind, I was like, oh, I remember Yasunori Mitsuda is composing music for a new game. Hopefully he just wasn't rearranging the tracks for Chrono Cross. Hopefully we do get an announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And then an even bigger announcement that I didn't really understand the significance of until much later was Live Alive or Live Alive, that remake, because this game was like a forgotten relic on the Super Nintendo. It didn't come to the West, it wasn't localized, and it was such a very niche and like obscure kind of game. Like only a very select few people knew about it, and it was only the people who were like emulating the game and like playing the fan translation back then. And then this got a full-on HD 2D remake, and I like, even though I didn't know what this game was, I'd never heard of it, I immediately saw that game. I was like, I need to play this, and now it's like one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I highly recommend that game, Live Alive. Fantastic. But and then of course there was other announcements which were like pretty big deal, which I wasn't too big on, but they were still fun to react to. Like Nintendo Switch Sports was there, Mario Strikers Battle League was there, a few other like kind of games like that were there, and that was nice to see. The big blowout, like mind-blowing explosion moment was Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the game I was waiting for so long. My reaction to that is still on the channel. Loved reacting to that, and just seeing, like, I was still relatively new as a Xenoblade fan, but I was still like theorizing what we could see. And there were so many things in that trailer that I was so like mind blown. Like I was like, oh my god, we're actually seeing this. So that was fun. My second, like, that might probably be my favorite direct, but another direct that like is up there as my favorite is last year's February 2023 direct. This was when we knew the release date for Tears of the Kingdom, but we still wanted to see more of it. And then this is when we were still like, oh, are we gonna see Metroid Prime 4? Where's Metroid Prime Trilogy? What's going on? And then in my head, I said to myself, I was like, oh, Xenoblade's DLC is coming. We're not gonna see like anything for that. Like, well, whatever. The direct starts, we get Pikmin 4. I was like, oh, cool. And then we get like a new like look at to what the next wave of DLC for Xenoblade 3 was. And I was like, oh, okay, oh, well, whatever. It's just a new info on Wave 3. Okay, cool. And then what they do, and like if you go back to my reaction on this, my like whole like demeanor just like changed in an instant when they showed the Wave 4 expansion like graphic, and they said, and coming soon later this year, and they just show that graphic of the 3 swords. I immediately was like, oh my god, what am I about to see in the next 1 second? What am I going to see? And like I can't really describe what we saw. I can sort of like tiptoe around it because you haven't played the games yet and I really want you to, but we saw the 2 protagonists of Xenoblade 1 and 2 together in the same world.
Yeah, I know that.
Up. I couldn't speak. I was like, this is what I was waiting for ever since I played the first game, and I was like, I just couldn't speak, and when I did, I just screamed. I was like that was like 15 seconds of a teaser for a DLC expansion that was coming like months later, but that was probably my favorite announcement in that whole direct because of like how like mega like just mind-blowing that was. And then on top of that, we saw, what else did we see? We saw Baten Kaitos HD remaster 1 and 2 for that game. I still haven't played those games, but I really want to. Those are like old Monolith Soft games. I'm really excited to play those. And then, of course, Metroid Prime Remastered. I was like, this game is real. It was a myth for so long. It's finally real. We're seeing it, and it looks amazing. And then we saw another amazing Tears of the Kingdom trailer, which I feel like they kind of held back with that, but I'm kind of glad they did because the one which we saw in April was like amazing. But yeah, those are some of my favorite directs. One, like I said, the June direct was my 4th favorite, so maybe my 3rd favorite I'll say was E3 2021 because we got the big dude Metroid Dread. Yeah, like I was like, dude, this game which was a myth is real. Like it's like that was insane. Like Metroid reveals this generation have been so good. I think you can agree with that. And then we got like another trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. We'd waited 2 years to see something. We finally got something. And then what else? Oh, Shin Megami Tensei 5. That was a nice reveal. I loved seeing that game in action. That was our first gameplay reveal. And then we got Kazuya in Smash. That was a fun trailer. But yeah, those are my 3 favorite directs. This June direct was good. I like the lineup. Like I said, it was a very robust direct. But I feel like in those other directs were games I was a little more interested in. But I think that can like transition us over to like, yeah, what were your favorite announcements from this direct, and what were you missing from this direct?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we've been kind of going over it already, but yeah, my favorite, I mean, this direct was just so amazing, and I mean, the things that I'm gonna have to highlight are obviously Echoes of Wisdom and Metroid Prime 4. I think it's a tie. I don't know which one I was more, I mean, I think I was equally as excited for both of them. Because it was just beautiful. Yeah. And then I would say like a 3rd place, I was actually a huge fan, even though I didn't really react as crazy, Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
just saying like you're gonna get some of your friends involved in that and play some.
Yeah, dude, you could even hop on as well. They have a 20-player mode.
If it's online, I could. One of my friends locally, like we have like Mario Party sessions, like not as often as you guys do, but like he was saying, oh, I'm gonna pre-order this game and y'all should come over. We should play. And I was like, yeah. Mario Party's fun. I don't actively play it, but I've played it the most in the Switch generation. Like back in like 2019, I played some Super Mario Party with some friends back in school, and then when Superstars came out, I played that a few times like in 2022. So I'm excited for this new one to play with friends.
Yeah, I love Mario Party. I've played I grew up with the GameCube ones. And dude, they had those like 1 a year. Like you had 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you even had 8 on the first year of the Wii, I believe, or the second year of the Wii, or within 1 year of the Wii's launch, you had Mario Party 8 and Mario Party 8, and I would say 4, 8, and 7 are my favorites. 4 was my first one, and then. Obviously, like most Mario Party fans are not fans of 9 and 10. I actually have a soft spot for 10 just because of the Bowser mode, because it could be up to 5 players where one person plays as Bowser.
Yeah.
And I didn't say this on my predictions video. I actually forgot to do it before the direct. But I actually had a crazy prediction of Mario Party 10 Deluxe, where they bring back, because you could have someone play on the Switch, and then you could have 4 other people play on the TV. They could have maybe tried to do something with that, but yeah. Anyway, kind of going back to like other announcements that I really loved. A friend of mine, I never got Switch Sports, but a friend of mine has Switch Sports, and he loves that game. And me and my friends came over and we played it with him, and we played bowling a lot. And then we played racquetball. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. And then and we played volleyball too, the sword fighting, and it was a lot of fun. And then I'm just super hyped because Switch Sports is like one of his favorite games on the Switch, and I'm like happy for him that now there's basketball, and then now we could play that as well. So yeah, that's something else I'm looking forward to. And then these are re-releases, but I finally get to play Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yeah, that was nice to see. Because
Yeah,
I've actually been, I don't know if I told you this, but I've been in a Donkey Kong Country mood recently. I started playing Donkey Kong Country 2 on NSO, and that game is fantastic. I just beat it today actually. I beat the final boss, and it's a fantastic, like, just really fun platforming game. It's really good.
I'm playing them. I'm trying to play them, and I think if there's anything in the middle, I'm probably gonna skip it, but I'm gonna do the NSO of Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and then I think there's a third, right?
Yes, there is.
And then so I'm gonna do the first 3, and then I'm gonna go straight into Returns.
I think that's good. I don't think there's anything in between. It's just Returns and Tropical Freeze, I think.
Okay, yeah. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So right now I'm still working on the first one, and then I'm really looking forward to Returns. Like I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
And then I got a fun fact for you.
Yeah.
That my last thing that I was very happy about was, even though it's coming with 4 swords, like a lot of people are like, oh wow, Link to the Past on Game Boy Advance, like, we already have it on the Super Nintendo, why do we need to play it again? Well, guess what? In the Game Boy Advance version of Link to the Past, there is a secret dungeon called the Temple of the Four Swords.
Yes.
And that I have never done that. I've only played Link to the Past once on NSO through on NSO. Yeah. And so I'm very excited to play it again.
Yeah. I might do that as well, because I was talking to Skylink. I was like, hey, we should do like a Four Swords live stream, get some other friends involved with that.
Yeah,
so if we do that and we get that, like, there is also something in Four Swords. If you complete something in Four Swords, it unlocks something in A Link to the Past. Is that the dungeon, or is it something else? I don't know.
Oh, is it the dungeon? Okay, well then I don't know. I
remember you might have to do something in Four Swords to unlock something else in A Link to the Past. Don't quote me on that though, but yeah.
Okay,
that was a nice announcement to see, as well as Metroid Zero Mission and Perfect Dark.
Yeah, I want to try Perfect Dark. Yeah, like, I really want to try it, especially with the... I mean, I'm not, like, super hyped about the new one, but after seeing the trailer for the new one, the fact that I could go back and play the original, I'm, like, super hyped for that.
Dude, now that they have a mature-rated NSO online, I really, really hope they add Conker's Bad Fur Day, because I've always wanted to play that game. I really want to play it.
I actually played, I think I... played it in a different way. I might
have to resort to that if they don't bring it over.
Yeah, I know. I played a little bit of it and I never finished it, but if it does come to NSO, I will definitely finish it on NSO for sure. Yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day is just such a funny game. It's a 3D platformer. It's like a really, really, really cool if you are into that type of game.
Yeah, it's got a lot of funny movie references and stuff.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man. It's awesome. So yeah, I hope they add that. I think they will. I think that there's a good chance that they will. So yeah, and
I wanted to ask you this specifically before we get into like the super massive mega announcements, which we'll be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think I messaged you about this, but this is my personal opinion. I am a little burnt out with Mario stuff. And the thing is, this is coming from me, like, I don't normally play Mario games a lot, and this is coming from me, who is already burnt out by just playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Mario RPG. And those are scratching the surface of the Mario marathon that Nintendo has been giving us. Like, I literally counted 8 games. It started with Super Mario Bros. Wonder in October, Mario RPG in November, Mario vs. Donkey Kong in February, Princess Peach Showtime in March, Thousand Year Door in May, Luigi's Mansion this month in June, and then Mario Party in October, right? Yeah, and then Mario and Luigi Brothership in November. So that's 8 Mario games, almost one after the other. And another thing that is kind of surprising, like, my friend before the direct, he was like, oh, what if we get a Mario and Luigi game? And I was like, yeah, that would be nice to see a new Mario and Luigi game, but at the same time, we just got Mario RPG, and we just got Thousand Year Door. So my thing is, like, Nintendo used to be very good with pacing their, like, games apart from each other. So, like, if a lot of these games were done already, why didn't they, like, come out earlier, or why aren't they, like, spaced out in between other releases so it doesn't feel like we're just getting, like, shoved with a whole bunch of Mario stuff? This is also coming from me, who, like, is not the biggest Mario fan, so I might be a little biased in the opposite direction, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I did kind of notice there was a lot of Mario games, and I am gonna get Mario and Luigi Brothership. However, I do have some concerns about it, but I did kind of feel you when, like, for example, choosing Mario and Luigi, like, over Fire Emblem 4 or something like that. Like, yeah, I was a little bit bummed that we didn't see Fire Emblem 4. I was
I'll get into that more, but yeah, that was my main thing. I was like, if Fire Emblem 4 was here, this, like, my letter grade for this direct is a solid good B. If Fire Emblem 4 was here, it would be an A.
Yeah,
it might be, like, in the top 3 for my favorite directs then, if Fire Emblem 4 was here.
Yeah, it probably would have. Yeah, I mean, that was just, like, the one thing.
Yeah.
That, like, literally, I feel like, because I did really well on my bingo card. I didn't get a bingo. But
you got
a lot
bingo?
of it, I know I did not. I almost did. I was one
got
space
a bingo,
away.
but I did a very safe, like, horizontal across with the free space, so I got a bingo that way.
Oh yeah, I didn't do a free space. My free space was something that was the most likely, which was an NSO big update with 4 more games, and we got that.
Nice.
So yeah, that was technically my free space. But anyway, kind of going back into, like, so much Mario.
Yeah.
I just want them to deliver on Mario content. And I think the reason why here, before I get into, like, my opinions on certain Mario games, to kind of, like, bounce off of what you were saying about, like, oh, we've been in a Mario marathon, like 8 Mario games, like, every month. Well, I mean, whether you like that or not, I think it's because it comes from Nintendo wanting to capitalize off the success of the movie, because now there's, like, a Mario craze right now, especially with Universal Studios opening up in Florida, and then the one in LA, and then now, like, the movie, of course. So
yeah, I think that's a good explanation for this, because in my head I was just like, oh, it's just their mascot, they're putting Mario on everything, and I was like, oh, whatever. But I think the fact that they had the movie and the theme park now, it kind of makes sense that they're putting more Mario games and merchandise out there to be like, hey, go do this other stuff, watch this other stuff. Yeah.
And I really was not expecting Mario and Luigi, after, like, literally less than a year after they announced Mario and Luigi, less than a year after Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario both released. And these aren't just, like, any old Mario RPG titles. These are, like, the top tier. Like, Super Mario RPG is one of the most top tier Mario RPG games. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is what most would agree is the best one in the entire series, in the entire Paper Mario series. So, like, the fact that we got Mario and Luigi was like really a big surprise.
And it's a new game. It's not a remaster or a remake.
Yep,
so I
it's
think
the
it was
same.
all kind of leading up to this, and it's nice. It's nice to see that. My concern with this game in particular is who are the developers, since Alpha Dream is no more. Like, the company's gone. They kind of disbanded in 2019, and the employees were either laid off or they were kind of like reallocated into other development studios within Nintendo.
Yeah, I think what you just said, they were reallocated. That's what I believe. I think Nintendo gave some of them jobs and like the remains of them, and they probably got some like more people with them, because I think I saw like a video on YouTube that it was either from like Game Explain or from like Arlo or something, but like Nintendo just expanded like a lot of its workforce. Like they just added a bunch of employees and like a new building as well. So I mean, you know, that it would make sense that a lot of Alpha Dream people got reallocated and like reintegrated into certain parts within Nintendo. So I think that's the most likely explanation for who developed the game.
That makes sense.
I do have, like, can I tell you my concerns now on Mario and Luigi?
Yes, I'm curious to hear what you got to say.
Yeah. So this is a hot take, because a lot of the people that I've talked to that are also Mario and Luigi fans are just so hyped, and they think that this game is amazing and that there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. I'm very hyped for it. I'm gonna get it day one. But there is there's two things. One of them is very small and one of them is pretty big. So the small thing is, I'm not surprised that the art style is what it is, because I'm like, okay, if they were to have a Mario and Luigi console game, this is what it would look like. I'm not surprised. However, I feel like that art style is kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit aged, I feel like. And I feel like in the cutscenes, like when we saw like Luigi run out of the bush and stuff, that was pretty well done, but like in the in-game
gameplay,
I'm not too much of a fan.
The lighting is a little weird, and you're not alone in saying this. Like, one of my other friends felt the same way about the art style for this game. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like I don't know, maybe, and like it really did show. I think Arlo said this actually, but I think he said that like his reaction to the game is like, you can tell, or some other YouTuber said that like you can tell that the Switch's hardware is aged by looking at Brothership, you know, because I mean, it's I don't know. But anyway, the big thing that I really am concerned about, or that I don't like as of right now with Brothership, is the original characters. I think Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser's minions, they look great. But the original characters, I'm just like I loved all the original characters throughout all the Mario and Luigi games. All the original characters were awesome.
Fawful, Cacaletta, Starlo.
Yeah, they were amazing. Even Dreambert and Tazma, I really liked Tazma a lot.
Remember him from Bowser's Inside Story?
Who?
Broke Monsieur, the block guy.
Yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, like I feel like there were so many cool and fun characters, and like some of them were like the Shroobs as well from Partners in Time. Like they were just like, the creativity was just amazing with all the original characters. But the original characters in Brothership remind me of like a weird third-party game that was like on the Wii or the GameCube. You know, like I'm just not a fan of the original character designs in Brothership. Not as
striking in their like appearance and look.
I'm just I really just don't like it. I'm sorry for anybody who's watching this and they really like the new characters. I'm sorry, but you know, maybe I have to see more of the game, or maybe I have to play it myself. But I just,
maybe
as
once
of right,
you like see the game in action, hear their dialogue, maybe things might feel different.
I just feel like they're just like, what? I don't know. I just don't like them. I don't like them, and I feel like it's very much like just a shard of what the original characters like used to be in the previous games. Because I loved all those original characters, and now I'm just like, what the heck? But anyway, that's all I have to say about Brothership for right now.
I guess before we get into the big topics, which will be Echoes of Wisdom and Metroid Prime 4, I wanted to slightly discuss two aspects. The missing games, and will we get a September Direct? and I guess I'll start with the missing games, and sort of tying that into a September Direct, because I now think that we will at least, if we don't get a general Direct, I think we'll at least get Twitter drops or a Nintendo Direct mini, like not a partner showcase, but a Nintendo Direct mini for some like first-party games. Because I will say this, I'm not like super upset that Fire Emblem 4 Remake was absent from this Direct, but I was a little disappointed. But here's the thing, this game has been rumored for so long now, and like I follow leaks and rumors because it's like fun, it's whatever, but I've heard many reliable people say that this game is not only like real, but it's complete. The game is done. So I'm like, where the heck is it? And why is Nintendo just holding on to it? Because they seem to do this with Fire Emblem games. Three Houses was the one which had to get delayed a little bit because they had to make sure they're polishing it as much as possible, getting it out soon. But Koei Tecmo was more involved in Three Houses than Intelligent Systems was. Well, Intelligent Systems was still there, but Koei Tecmo was doing a lot of the development work for that. So that's why in some ways it looked a little bit different and played a little bit differently, but it was still like a core Fire Emblem game.
Yeah, that game was, man,
I know you're a huge Three Houses fan.
I mean, that game was so good. Like, I never thought that I would ever play a Fire Emblem game, and then I played. A friend of mine just wanted me to try Three Houses, and I used to not really be like super big into JRPGs either, especially with like the anime look. But I played Three Houses, and man, dude, I was so sold. Like, I remember playing it at the very beginning, I enjoyed it, and then I got a little bored. And then when the story started to pick up, once you, like, I think like a few chapters before the middle of the game,
the time skip,
like before you get to the second half, I was just drawn in. I was just locked in. I was like, wow, this is like literally one of the best games on the Switch, even though the visuals might be a little off or maybe not as well refined. The storytelling and the character development in this game and the world and the setting is by far one of the best things I've ever seen Nintendo do.
I need you to play Xenoblade soon, dude. Like, I'm saying, like, Xenoblade is on that level. Like, Fire Emblem Three Houses was like a very big, bold, very good step for the Fire Emblem series. It is probably next to Genealogy of the Holy War from what I've heard, because I've not played Genealogy of the Holy War yet, and I hope we get a remake.
I know we need.
Yeah, like, it seems like it is a general consensus that Three Houses has the best story in the series, which is kind of sad because the game that came right after Engage is said to have some of the worst story in the series, but that's fine. But
I heard.
Yeah, but my thing is like Xenoblade is on that level. If you love stories with great characters, great world building, amazing like emotional moments, Xenoblade is there. It does all that. But anyways, that's off topic. I think like Koei Tecmo was helping a lot with Three Houses, but they were also doing Engage on the side. They're doing like Engage, and that's where they put a lot of their like time, money, budget. They put it a lot into Engage. But my thing is, it seems that they were also working on a third Fire Emblem game as well for the Switch, and that is a Genealogy remake. Because from, like, I was saying this in my video prediction for the Direct, and my reasoning for Genealogy was, like, Engage was moved back significantly because it was supposed to come out closer to the anniversary for Fire Emblem, which was 2020. But of course, delays, pandemic, this, that, and the other. In my head, I think Engage was maybe planned for like a 2021 release, but then they also realized that Three Hopes is coming, so they wanted to push it back a little more. So eventually it just fell out of the anniversary time, released in January 2023. But then they were like, oh, what the heck are we going to do with this Genealogy of the Holy War remake? So there was a lot of like jumbling with things, and it makes me think, like, I still think that Genealogy of the Holy War is Fire Emblem 18, because we go from Three Houses, which is officially Iron 17 or FE 17. We go straight to Iron 19 or FE 19, which is Engage. So I really think that genealogy is there, it exists, and it's 18. And on top of that, this mirrors the 3DS. With the 3DS, we had Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia, which capped off the 3DS, and not only capped off the 3DS, but it came out a month after the Nintendo Switch launched. So I would not be surprised if, like, they might even hold on to genealogy for a little longer. Switch 2 is announced, Switch 2 is released, then they release it like whenever the heck they want, because it's fine, people will buy it, the install base of the Switch is high, so like, people are still going to buy the game, and I don't think it'll be a cross-generation game. I don't think they're moving it on to Switch 2, because if they move it to Switch 2, then that is like a death sentence for the game, because like, not everyone is going to have a Switch 2 when everyone already has a Switch 1, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it will definitely come out on the Switch. I actually I don't, you know, I am thinking we are going to get a September Direct.
Yeah.
Because I think and I also kind of have like a side theory. What if Genealogy of the Holy War is planned to release, probably it's probably not going to be this year, because it would have been announced in the June Direct if it was coming out this year. But it could come out early next year. There's still a chance. And I just feel like maybe Nintendo really just wanted to get like, oh, we got to announce the new Zelda game. We got to announce Metroid Prime 4. And we got to start the train for Mario Party, because they haven't, like, a lot of stuff was announced, like, because since they skipped out on the February Direct, they had to really like bring in the big games like for this June Direct, and they really had to have those at the forefront. So I'm thinking that like a game that could be like on the tail end of like the Switch's life cycle, like Genealogy of the Holy War, that could still come out like early next year. Probably going to be after Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong is the January title. I noticed Nintendo likes to do January and February titles now, but so I think I could see Genealogy of the Holy War being announced in a September Direct, and then it being released sometime between February and April of next year.
Yeah, I think it's a good window.
I think that's still like definitely on the table. I think it's gonna happen.
We'll see how it goes.
The whole Fire Emblem 18 thing, dude. You're so right on that, dude.
I'm so like, what is it? I don't think it's Fire Emblem Heroes, because I feel like Fire Emblem Heroes is still a part of that like chain of numbers. I have to go back and fact check this, because I've seen like other Fire Emblem code names, but the ones I remember the most are like Three Houses 17, Engage 19, and then I think Shadows of Valentia was 16 or something like that, or Heroes might have been 16, I don't know. But yeah, also, speaking of missing games really quick before we move on to the big ones, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, September Direct.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about that. That's... Alright, so this is
you were like, Metroid Prime 4 is gonna be shown before Metroid Prime 2 and 3, so...
Yeah, so let me tell you something right now. This is probably gonna be where we disagree, but I actually think that all four of those games, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess... Okay, Wind Waker maybe, but for sure, Twilight Princess, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, Switch 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can see Wind Waker and Twilight Princess moving over to Switch 2. I would really hope Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are on Switch 1.
Maybe, you know what? Let me adjust it. Maybe Prime 2 and 3 is a cross-gen, like on the tail end after. So, like, obviously, like, for example, after the Switch came out, the 3DS was still supported up until, like, the first half of 2019. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking for Prime 2 and 3, because I'm on the boat that Nintendo really wants Prime 4 like to be, because I feel like they don't want to feed, like, I feel like there's greater sales potential in releasing Prime 2 and 3 after Prime 4, because we know for sure that the Switch is on the peak of its success. Nintendo is owning it right now with sales. And this is the best time to get a bunch of, or to create a lot of new Metroid fans with the release of Prime 4. And
yeah, but I think they can really capitalize on, like, to really capitalize on the success of Metroid. I would hope that they release those 2 games so people can prepare for Prime 4. They can kind of like have that kind of segue into Prime 4. And another thing is having them on Switch 2 will kind of not cannibalize, but like they'll miss out on their chance for success of the Switch audience and the Switch install base, 140 million players. So I think those games, for them to sell well, because Metroid doesn't usually sell well, it's not as successful as other games and other franchises, I would hope to see them on Switch 2. Whereas Wind Waker and Twilight Princess don't need the Switch effect. They've sold like beyond 5+ million on every single system that they're on almost. And I'm like, no, like they can come to the Switch. They don't need to come to the Switch as much as Metroid Prime 2, 3, Fire Emblem 4, Xenoblade Chronicles X. These games need the success of the Switch. Whereas Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, like they've had success 3 console generations in a row. Even on the failing Wii U, where all games were failing, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker still did relatively well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's true, and I think that's I think it doesn't matter. You're right. You make a good point for those 2 games, and I think another thing too is they don't want it to be too confusing, because number one, they had this 2D Zelda game planned, so you don't really want to cannibalize the sales of this new 2D Zelda game. Yeah. And I actually commend Nintendo for doing that. Yeah. I think that you really, and we'll talk about this when we talk more about Echoes of Wisdom, but this is like, we're approaching a whole new era of Zelda right now, where the creativity, like Zelda games have always been about like straightforwardness, but now there's like this whole creativity and freedom aspect that is blooming within the games, and it kind of has transformed the series, but we'll go more into that later. But like I said with Prime 2 and 3, like you make good points, which is why I want Prime 2 and 3, or at least I think it'd be wise for Prime 2 and 3 to actually be cross-gen at the tail end of the Switch's life. So like let's say, like for example, Prime 4 comes out, Prime 4 is coming out next year. So like in 2026 or 2027, I would say more likely 2027. Like when the Switch is finally winding down, they release Prime 2 and 3, and it's for both. You could get it on the Switch 2 or the Switch 1. Yeah. Because I feel like those games' sales potential is like greater, because you got so much new Metroid fans with Metroid Prime 4, and now people are like, oh man, now I really want to play Prime 2 and 3. Yeah, and the games are connected, but what I'm noticing with Metroid Prime 4 and the trailer and the lead up, it seems like Prime 4 is set many years later after Prime 3, and it's sort of like a new arc for the series. It has nothing to do with Dark Samus, has nothing to do with Phazon, nothing to do with any of that. So it's interesting to see what new things it's going to be adding story-wise, and it also seems that we don't really need to know things from the other games in terms of story. Maybe in terms of gameplay, people would like to know, but in terms of like knowing things going into Prime 4, you probably just need to watch the Who is Silux explainer videos, which we've been seeing around lately this week. Yep. Yeah, just watch one of those. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, because no one has access to Metroid Prime Hunters and Federation Force anymore. So it's so sad. I actually played Prime Hunters on the I got it on the Wii U Virtual Console. I downloaded it way before though the Wii U eShop was going down. I got it way earlier because I got a Prime Trilogy on the Wii U as well, and then I played all 3 Prime games on the Wii U through the Wii version of Prime Trilogy, and then I like did some research. I'm like, oh wow, Hunters, and then I played. Actually, you know what? I think I played Hunters before. I think I did it like chronologically, because I think Hunters is in between 1 and 2, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I played it in order, but I actually for like a really like crispy like old blocky like DS game, like Prime Hunters was actually very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I remember it being really enjoyable. So, yeah. Anyway,
do you wanna? Because we're getting close to the time limit. Do you wanna jump into Zelda and Metroid Prime 4?
Yes. Yeah. Unless there's because I feel like we already went over Wind Waker.
We went over everything else. Anything else you want to say before we jump into those?
I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's start with Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I had a pretty like big reaction to this. I didn't clip it because I just completely forgot, but like it's interesting that so many of us, like us two included, I don't know about you because we didn't talk much before the release of Tears of the Kingdom, only after, but a lot of us really wanted playable Zelda in Tears of the Kingdom. We thought that this was the time to do it. This is the opportunity. This is what's going to set Breath of the Wild apart from Tears of the Kingdom. And in hindsight, I would have still loved to play a Zonai Zelda back in the past.
I would too.
Little did we know that Nintendo beat us to it. This entire time, this game was probably done. Throughout this entire like time we were saying, playable Zelda, give us playable Zelda, give us playable Zelda. They already beat us to it. They already knew that we wanted it. And Aonuma was saying like, we want Zelda, or he said something very like nonchalantly. He's like, if we have Zelda as a playable character, we want her to feel completely different from Link. And we can see in this trailer that she feels completely different from Link, but my reservation with this game, I'll just jump into it right away. This feels like, do you remember what we were talking about with Tears of the Kingdom, how they just kind of doubled down on the mechanics of the game? They're like, oh, physics, open air, let's just delve more into that and just have that as our focus. It seems to be that is what Echoes of Wisdom is also sort of doing, in the sense that when some of us wanted 2D Zelda to come back, we were like, oh, let's get like something in the veins of like Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Link Between Worlds. This is still like that, but it is very non-traditional in its approach to that 2D Zelda formula, with the tri-rod and the way you approach combat and the way you solve puzzles, the way you're exploring. Right now, the mechanics look cool, the way you can like duplicate things and clone things. It's interesting, but it's also like it's giving me that like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, like let's glue things together and let's see what we make kind of thing. Like, you know how like we first felt when we saw Ultra Hand and Fuse and all that, like it was cool at first, but I'm like, in my mind I'm like, I hope they don't get carried away with this, you know, like it's cool. And my other kind of worry is Echo is one ability that Zelda will have. I really, really, truly hope that is not the only thing that she does in the game. Echo can last so long, because you can echo enemies, you can echo furniture, you can echo objects, you can do all that, but I would hope and I would like to see Zelda actually using magic, actually like putting herself out there with combat, maybe not with a sword and shield or anything like Link, but like throw some fireballs, throw some like magic out there. And if there's more like creative puzzle solving mechanics, hopefully Echo isn't the only thing that the Tri-Fairy can do. And I think that they're holding back in some like I don't know, like what is it, like I can't think. I'm not as creative as the Zelda team, so I don't know what else they're gonna do alongside Echo, but I hope that Echo is not the only thing that they can do, or the only thing that they will do, because I can see that getting a little bit repetitive. So
right, yeah, I mean, oh man, where do I even? Okay, so Yeah, I'm kind of on. So I'm actually kind of okay if okay. I won't be severely disappointed if Echo is the only thing that you could do, like as like Zelda's prime abilities. If it's just like making echoes of certain things to solve puzzles and all this stuff, I am kind of okay with it for the most part. I won't be like pissed off or anything if that's the only thing. But you do make a good point that if they really want to like still have like a bunch of, you know, like really get creative with the puzzles, because I feel like, and this goes into the video that I'm making, that Breath of the Wild was the start of going, because we went from Zelda 1 and then Link to the Past established this formula, which is a linear story type of game. And then with Breath of the Wild, it completely changed that, and now we no longer have linear story games. Now it's more like, you know, there's a lot of freedom. But then with Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom, we now have started with creative freedom. But in my video, I talked about that in Tears of the Kingdom, creativity and freedom, and this video will be coming out soon, hopefully tomorrow, I hope. Anyway, creativity and freedom, at least in Tears of the Kingdom, did not have the best bond with each other.
Yeah.
The more freedom there was, the less creativity that was needed. Like, for example, like, you know, like solving a puzzle, I'm like, okay, I could just put these two Zonite things together. Yeah. I don't need to make this crazy machine. I'll just put these. The biggest
example of that is a hover bike. With enough battery charge in a hover bike, you can go anywhere you want in the world. You can scour the entire depths in just a snap.
There's no point. Yeah, there's just no point in like pushing to create more in Tears of the Kingdom. And I think that's why Tears of the Kingdom's like honeymoon phase has ended and crashed pretty hard. At least when it comes to creativity, is because like, yeah, there was like, you know, all these TikToks and cool short videos of people making all this crazy stuff, but literally like it's done now, at least for the most part, you know? So like when we're thinking about this game, Echoes of Wisdom, and we're thinking about like, okay, so what is Zelda gonna do? And is there gonna be so much freedom to the point where, okay, I could just make an echo of, let's say there's an echo of a like a super trampoline. So in the trailer we saw a small trampoline. Let's say there's an echo of a super trampoline. Literally, you could just use that one echo to go anywhere, and then it's over. That's all you need. And you know, that this is where I'm kind of agreeing with you, is like, yeah, I feel like there should be more abilities or more items or something like that Zelda can do, because too much freedom in this world will limit the desire to be more creative.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
All they need is some restrictions. They need to have some like reins on this game and what can be done in this game.
Right.
Put us on a little more of a linear path, and I think that's what this game is looking to be doing.
I think it's going to be like perfectly.
In terms of story progression, the presentation we saw didn't really show as much, but I would hope that the game is a little more linear than something like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because with that, then we can slowly experiment with different like uses of the Echo ability. Maybe get more abilities slowly throughout, but it won't be like we're jumping all over the place and like doing whatever we want, and like it just doesn't feel like it's having much direction, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm really hoping that they really like add these restrictions, because I mean, like, I feel like this game will also be short-lived, and that's the whole point of this video that I'm making, is that like, is this the future of Zelda? Like, do we have to accept this trade-off, right? Yeah. Where the world's number one freedom is a little bit too like out of control, to the point where too much freedom takes away the desire for creativity, and then they're not balanced well. And so if that's the case, then it's just a trade-off that we have to have. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, only like certain people that want to get super creative and spend time, like, you know, finding every single echo and doing every single thing that they could figure out with it. Like, you know, that's good for like you or me just watching a video on YouTube, but then after that there's like no point. And this also ties into the world, right? Is this a trade-off now? Like, because Nintendo wants these games to be so creative and accessible, and it's like you could do it your way and the world doesn't matter. Well,
Yeah.
the world was so overly reused in for Tears of the Kingdom from Breath of the Wild, and now there's a lot of hesitation with YouTubers with Echoes of Wisdom thinking like, oh, this world looks like a Link to the
Yeah,
Past.
is it a Link to the Past? Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's an anxiety that I have. I'm like, am I really gonna have to make this trade now as a Zelda fan, where I give up like the world, the setting, and the characters and the story for creative freedom? Like, am I gonna have to make that? Like, am I gonna have to learn to embrace that?
Do you think that this game will have less of a focus on the story and the lore, like Tears of the Kingdom did? I mean, people might disagree with me on that, but we've had many discussions about this.
Yeah.
I can even like link some of our clipped discussions down below where we had like a post Game Awards discussion where we're like, hey, here's our like vented thoughts about like how we feel about Tears of the Kingdom. But like that's besides the point. But do you think Echoes of Wisdom is following that same path?
So I think that Echoes of Wisdom has the potential to be better.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, my hope and prayer is that they take Echoes of Wisdom further than what they did with Tears of the Kingdom, at least when it comes to the story and world. And I think when it comes to lore and story, I think yes and no. I think when it comes to story, this is going to be a real-time story. It's going to be like, it's going to feel more like a traditional Zelda game where a lot of the story's events are not in the past. There's no memory.
Yeah, that I'm not worried about.
Sequential. It builds off of each moment and it moves forward like a normal story. I think that's what's going to happen. So I think the story presentation in Echoes of Wisdom, like, it will be better. But when it comes to the lore, I think Tears of the Kingdom did do a good job at having the lore spread out throughout the world, because it's a 3D Zelda game. So if you check every corner, read every single little like old manuscript of text and these old stones, you can put all the lore together. And I think in that regard, Tears of the Kingdom did a great job. Not an excellent job, but a solid job, you know? And so with Echoes of Wisdom, I think that since it's a 2D Zelda game, 1, and 2, since it also has the potential to reuse the same world, I do think that the lore implications, like the chance of it having deep lore, like off-screen deep lore, are diminished. I think there's a lower chance of us seeing more lore than Tears of the Kingdom, but the story presentation is likely to be better because there is no memory system in Echoes of Wisdom, or at least I highly doubt that there will be, you know, so yeah.
We shall see. I'm excited for how this game is going to turn out. I don't know if it'll be a day one purchase for me though. A lot of that comes down to, like, I don't think I mentioned this earlier in the video, but a lot of these 2024 games, I don't think I'm gonna play them day one. One is because I have a massive backlog of games. Like, I have like multiple like 50 plus hour JRPGs that I need to get through this year because I've just been holding them off, like Xenogears, Final Fantasy X, Trails in the Sky, like a lot of these games. On top of that, I am very excited for Metaphor Fantasio, so I don't know if I can like have Echoes of Wisdom and then immediately do Metaphor Fantasio. I'll see. It does look very fun though, in terms of like the mechanics and the things you can do. I'm cautiously optimistic for it. Another thing is, I personally am not the biggest fan of the Link's Awakening art style, but I think it fits for what they're doing here, and to get like a new Zelda game out quickly at the end of the Switch's life cycle, I think they made the right call for reusing that art style for a 2D game. Absolutely. But I hope that this isn't the mainstay for 2D Zelda art styles, because you know how they kept using that Wind Waker art style for like Minish Cap, Four Swords Adventures, a lot of that.
Hourglass, the Spirit Tracks.
Triforce Heroes, like Toon Link just kept coming back again and again and again. I hope they don't do that with the chibi toy Link and Zelda, because if so, I will be a little tired of it. I'm in the minority saying that. I am not the biggest fan of Link's Awakening's art style, but many people love it. Many people love the look of this game. That is one thing that I'm not the biggest fan of, but it's fine. It's not a deal breaker. I'll eventually play the game whenever I get a chance to.
Yeah, I mean, I was not the biggest fan of the Link's Awakening art style. However, as soon as I saw the first few seconds of Echoes of Wisdom, the trailer, it grew on me. Yeah. That was it. I'm just like, okay, I like this art style. I don't even care.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally actually really don't have a problem with it at all. I did, for some reason, I had a problem with it with Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
But now in this game, I don't have a problem with it at all. As a matter of fact, like you said, for what Nintendo's trying to do, especially the theme and the motif and the style of what this game is, I think that the Link's Awakening art style was a perfect choice for
That's
it.
Cool.
So
I need to go back and finish Link's Awakening because I left it half done, so I need to go back and do that. But to finish off this awesome discussion we've been having, we gotta talk about Metroid Prime 4. Both of our reactions. I think your reaction to Echoes of Wisdom was amazing, but also equally your reaction to Metroid Prime 4 was also great. Yeah. Me, it's just it feels so good because so many years, of course the game was restarted in 2019. Come 2021, near the end of 2021, we started saying, hey, could we maybe get a glimpse of this game? No, okay, maybe it's a little too early. 2022, near the end, we're like, can we get a glimpse of Metroid Prime 4? In that September Direct, I was like, hey, can we get a glimpse of Metroid Prime 4? It's been a while, maybe it's not complete, but can we see the game? No. 2023, we're like, this is the year. We're at least getting a glimpse of it. We're getting something. Metroid Prime 4, we're getting something. We're going to get a little bit of a teaser for it. And by the end of the year, we still didn't in 2023. I was shocked. I was like, dude, Metroid Prime 4, we had to see it this year. What is going on? 2024, the year starts, we keep saying that this is the year, this has to be the year, and then the rumors come out, the reports come out that Nintendo Switch 2 has been delayed from holiday 2024 to 2025. Then I was like, oh god, this is another one of those years where we're not going to see Metroid Prime 4. And I went into this Direct with moderate expectations. I was like, I only want to see Fire Emblem. I think the safest prediction for Metroid is Prime 2. I don't know if we're going to see Prime 3. I was pleasantly very surprised. We did not get Prime 2. We went straight to Prime 4. It looks great. It sounds great. And we got more than what I thought we would get. I thought we would get I think you watch Andres Restart quite a bit. I watch him all the time, but he was predicting that the Metroid Prime 4 show at the Direct, if it would be there, would be something like what we saw at E3 2019 for Tears of the Kingdom. Just a CG trailer, just setting up the story, just cutscenes, no actual gameplay.
Yeah.
In this, we saw gameplay, we saw cutscenes, we got a good look and hint as to what the story of the game is going to be.
Absolutely.
We got not one, but 2 areas that we got to see. We got a release year. We got a subtitle. So we got so much more than we asked for. So I think this is a perfect example of patience is always rewarded with just greatness. I'm very happy with what we saw with this game. And yeah, what did you think of it? And also, did you play Prime Remastered? I forgot if you have.
I actually haven't finished it, so I'm actually trying to 100% it, but I'm trying to do it. The reason why, so I played the game consistently until and I just got like all the artifacts because
Yeah.
you need to get those before you do the final area, and I'm doing this weird thing where I want 100% it before doing the final boss, before going to the final boss area. So yeah, I
once
kind
you
of
go there, you can't go back.
Yeah, and the thing is like the 100%ing Prime Remastered, there's so much backtracking, and I just fell off. So I did this weird thing where I played the game consistently, like, you know, for a long time, and then right before the final boss, I said, okay, I'm 100% it, and then while during my journey to 100% it, I fell off.
Yeah.
And now I'm just still sitting there before the final area.
You can do it in preparation for Prime 4.
I know I will. I'll definitely finish it. But Prime 1 Remastered has just been amazing. I got one of my friends to play it too. He's new to Metroid, so he liked Prime 1 Remastered. And so yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the same thing happened. One of my friends, I got him to play Prime 1 Remastered because I was like, because that friend of mine is a very big like FPS first-person shooter fan. He loves Doom, Call of Duty, Halo, a lot of that stuff. I was like, this game isn't really like that, but it's more exploration focused, but it's first person. He played it, he liked it, and he was like, I like the exploration, the puzzle solving, but he was like, if they were to improve on this game, they should improve the gunplay, the combat, the overall just shooting aspects of the game. Prime 3 does that a bit, but I really think that we could see that in Prime 4, because I met up with him today, and I was talking to him. I was like, hey, what'd you think of Metroid Prime 4's trailer? And he was like, the gunplay and the combat and the movement already looks better. And I'm like, yeah, I think it does. So if they double down into that stuff, make Samus a bit more faster and agile, I would love that. And yeah, in terms of visuals, I think the game it looks really good. It's got that same like nice sleeky look to it that Prime Remastered had. And I love how like Prime Remastered was a really big tease into what Metroid Prime 4 was going to look like. In my head, when I saw Prime Remastered, I was like, shit, is this what Metroid Prime 4 will look like? Will it look better? Will it look on par? And it was a really like big teaser as to what the visual direction of Metroid Prime 4 was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm so excited for Metroid Prime 4. I'm so ready. Man, yeah, I'm so glad we have it. I'm so glad we have it. You know,
I have one question I want to ask you. It's like a double part question. First of all, have you played Prime 2 and 3 or just Prime 1?
I've played, like I said, I think I've played every single Metroid game.
Okay.
However, with an asterisk, because instead of playing the original Metroid and Metroid 2, I played Zero Mission and Samus Returns.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't count the original 2 Metroids because they haven't aged well at all.
Yeah, so I mean, like, in that regard, I've played every single one except Metroid Prime Pinball.
Yeah,
that's the only one I haven't played. But I did finish Federation Force with a good friend of mine.
Cool.
I played Hunters on my own, and then I played 1, 2, 3. I played Other M as well. I actually thought Other M. I actually thought it was good.
Okay.
I thought it was good.
I didn't give that a shot. I'll see if I want to give it a shot eventually. But I wanted to ask you this. With what we saw of Metroid Prime 4, do you think it looks too similar to Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3? Do you think that they're holding back in what they're showing us? And do you think it's like... I've heard some people say that this may not be as big of a step forward for the series as they thought it would be. So what do you think about that?
Okay, so obviously, I don't have a problem. First of all, I don't have a problem with it. If some people say, oh, it looks too similar to 1, 2, and 3, I don't have a problem with that, because I loved the gameplay of 1, 2, and 3. I loved it. The gunplay, I could see how, like, people who are used to, like, Call of Duty and, like, Halo, I could see why, like, they might think that, like, Metroid Prime feels a little primitive. Like, it just feels kind of like, oh, this needs, like, some tweaks and some work on. I personally still like it. I think there's, like, a strategy element to it that actually kind of makes it more difficult. Like, because, for example, for the gunplay, a lot of the times you got to get these moves where you have to hold down the charge shot. Yeah. And while you're holding it, you got to, like, dodge
you
enemy
gotta strafe
attacks
around or
yeah
throw in a
it
super missile
kinda,
on top of that. Yeah.
yeah, it kind of adds like a strategy element to like the gunplay and the combat, and I like that a lot. You
Yeah.
know, I like that a lot, and so I don't have a problem if it looks too similar to 1, 2, and 3. It's not like I expected it to be like this new game that completely breaks the conventions. I mean I guess when it comes to exploration, okay, it could break conventions, but when it comes to combat and like the core gameplay, probably not.
Yeah.
And I think the game looks great. I think the game will look even better on the Switch too. I think it
Yeah.
will be a cross gen. I think it
Yeah.
is going to be that. Yeah, I even made a video where I actually think that, and a lot of people think I'm crazy for this, but I actually think that 3D Mario and Prime 4, both of them, launch day
Okay.
one for Switch 2.
All right.
Except 3D Mario will not be cross-gen, but
Yeah.
Prime
Prime 4
4
will. Yeah.
will. Yeah, so that's what I think they'll be
All right.
together because I feel like if you open up YouTube, right, and like even if you're a casual gamer and you see all these videos of 3D Mario like 4K on a new Nintendo console, that is money right there.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna get people to come
That's
in.
what's gonna get
And then-
people. Yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh wow, there's this other game too, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Wow,
Yeah.
I might as well get this too." You
Yeah.
know, so there's like that mentality, that sales mentality in there. So that's
what
I
it has happened for a lot of like launches for many consoles. People are just like, oh, let me get the big game and let me get like a side game on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think because Metroid Prime 4 has, or the Metroid series in general, has struggled with sales, I think this is the best move to
Yeah.
do it. I think you got to pair it up with 3D Mario.
Yeah.
Have it be
But
cross-gen.
also have it on the Switch 1 where they already have that install base. If many people don't want to buy the Switch 2 version, maybe aren't ready to upgrade to Switch 2, they can buy it on Switch 1, have still a great experience.
Yeah, so I think Prime 4 is sitting in a pretty spot. I don't think it's going to do I don't think it's going to do bad like in sales wise. I think it's going to do well. I do think it's going to be the best selling Metroid game in the entire series.
I would hope so as well.
Yeah, easily.
Exceeding Metroid Dread, we'll see. I want to say this in terms of it looking too similar to Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. I think that what we saw in this trailer has a little bit of everything from all 3 Prime games.
Right.
You see, when she first arrives on that planet, everything is blowing up, everything is just like exploding, there's like people fighting everywhere, and it reminds you of Metroid Prime 3, whenever people would invade like the GFS Olympus or the Valhalla or wherever you were, or the like opening fight in Norian, where you were fighting with those people, and just a whole bunch of people in the Federation were fighting with you alongside the space pirates. So like that was one Metroid Prime 3 hint. Metroid Prime 1, just the gunplay, the exploration, the scanning, the morph balling, the different ways you can move across the map. That felt like Metroid Prime 1. And of course, like, the visuals look like Metroid Prime 1 and Metroid Prime Remastered. The Metroid Prime 2 hint, which I don't know if you caught this, but in the very end, when you see her in that rainforesty area, she looks to be coming out of a portal.
Right.
So if you have like dimension hopping, it'll have like some sort of a, maybe not a light world, dark world like they did with Light and Dark Ether in Prime 2, but it'll have some sort of world traversal and dimensional like traversal like Prime 2 had. So it looks to be a combination of all 3 games. Plus, it'll definitely most probably have its own unique stuff on top of that, which we will see later this year or next year or whenever. So,
yeah, I think this game is going to be really big. This is going to be the Breath of the Wild for Metroid, pretty much.
Yeah.
I have full faith that this game is really going to knock our socks off. I really think, because it's been in development for so long, Nintendo's been sitting on it for so long. Now it's just about when's a good time to release it. And, you know, this game has gone through development, you know, craziness, and it's time, man.
Yeah.
It's time. And I think and I have a lot of faith in the story. I think the story is going to be good. Like we were talking about earlier, it's going to be the beginning of a new arc, I think, for sure. I saw a theory, I think actually HMK brought it up, The Galactic Federation is trying to do artificial phase-on.
Oh,
And so,
interesting.
yeah, that's interesting. And then also, a lot of people have noticed this, a lot of YouTubers, but the Metroids that are behind Sylux, when he walks in, they look like mock droids.
Mock
like
droids, yeah.
fake Metroids that were synthetically made, yeah, so artificially made. So, I mean, it's going to be, like, really, really cool, and I'm so hyped for it, I really think that I'm a huge fan. I don't think Nintendo's going to do this, but the theory about Sylux as a younger brother,
Yeah.
I would fall out of my chair if they did that. If they did that and like made it like a serious like story thing and like learn more about Samus's past, oh man, I'm
you know they've already done something like that with. I mean, spoilers for Metroid Dread to anyone listening, but they did that with Ravenbeak and Samus, and I was like, whoa, I did not expect that.
Yeah,
that
that's why
a really nice twist. Yeah,
I feel like they want to build. I feel like because this game has the chance to be the best-selling Metroid game ever, I feel like it's a good opportunity to expand the universe and the lore of this game and make it worth talking about after it comes out and after a lot of people have played it. Kind of like Zelda, right? Like after a Zelda game comes out, like, people talk about where is it in the timeline? Where is this? Where is the Triforce? Where is that? Like they got to do that with Metroid Prime 4. Like we have to have those types of post-game conversations, and that will put Metroid in a good place for the years to come and in its future releases. So dude, I'm so hyped for it.
All Nintendo franchises that want to up their story should look to Xenoblade. All Metroid, Zelda, Fire Emblem, they should all take notes from Mr. Takahashi and Xenoblade. But yeah. But anything else you want to talk about this whole Nintendo Direct? Any of the games we saw or anything like that?
Yeah, I got I think for Echoes of Wisdom we pretty much said anything. Do you have anything else on Echoes of Wisdom that we didn't get to?
That's pretty much it, I think. I think I said everything I had to say. Better lore story than Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, I think we got everything that I can think of.
Wait, I got a fun one.
What's up?
Timeline placement for Echoes of Wisdom. What do you got?
Oh, I remember watching your live stream yesterday. They have a very interesting placement for this. I still think that it is in the Downfall timeline. I'm convinced that it is in there. Based off of the locations we've seen, the races we've seen. Well, no, the races kind of throw it off a bit, but that also kind of begs the question, like, do they even care about this anymore? Because, like, how is the Ocarina of Time Deku Tree here? How are the Ocarina of Time Zoras here? How are, like, how is this all? How are the Deku Scrubs here?
I got two theories for you, really quick.
Yeah.
First one, if they do Downfall timeline, and I'm gonna make a whole video on this, explaining this. So anybody who's watching, look forward to it.
Yeah.
Coming soon. But I have a theory that Nintendo does something beautiful and creative, where the Downfall timeline is adjusted a little bit. The creation of the Downfall timeline is adjusted a little bit, and it depends on what happen. Depending on what happens to Link in Echoes of Wisdom, it kind of like it holds this whole theory up. But what if Echoes of Wisdom takes place before A Link to the Past in a parallel type of world to Ocarina of Time, that to make the timeline split make more sense?
Oh, so that's why you're saying before Wind Waker, right?
Yeah, so that's why that's why it's also my second idea is before Wind Waker, because think about it, like before Link to the Past we have Ocarina of Time, we have the Deku Tree, the way Zelda's clothes looked, all this other stuff.
Yeah,
all these
it's not really confirmed that this is the same Link from A Link to the Past and Link's Awakening.
Yeah, I really hope, man. I really hope that they do this. This is like my number one hope, is that this, and like it could, and we could, there's like a rabbit hole with this. Like we could even think that, okay, so now Echoes of Wisdom is before A Link to the Past, and it takes place in a separate, like, parallel timeline because of all these Ocarina of Time like influences. which means what happens before Echoes of Wisdom? A whole new like set of games, or an Ocarina of Time remake, like akin to the Final Fantasy VII remake, where they changed the story and the history a little bit. You know, so there's a lot they could do, and that's what I really hope that they do. And then obviously, my reasoning for before Wind Waker is because like we have all of the Deku Tree and all this other stuff. But remember, Link did not appear in the prologue for Wind Waker. The hero was missing, and a lot of people are like, oh well, what about the hero of time? They keep calling Link the hero of time, like, oh, surely you are the hero of time reborn. That's a quote from Ganondorf, I think, in Wind Waker. Well, if you look at the statue of the hero in Hyrule Castle in Wind Waker, it's like this hybrid Tomb Link, like a Link to the Past Link, like a Link Between Worlds Link type of statue of what he looked like. And I think they could get really creative with this, with having Echoes of Wisdom before Wind Waker. And then do you
see Nintendo doing this though, with how very stringent and very restrictive they are with timeline placement and lore with the Zelda series, especially what we've seen with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom?
I mean, man, honestly, I guess at the end of the day, it's a pipe dream. I mean, I would love for it to happen, but I mean, if you're asking me to be realistic, the chances of it happening probably slim. I mean,
but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll surprise us. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's
really still fun to theorize and speculate, though.
And then there's and a lot of people. I remember in my analysis video, I mean, I got some comments that are like, dude, what the heck? How could it be after Spirit Tracks? Well, I just have to say this to everybody. Look, if you want to believe that Breath of the Wild is a Dragon Breaker, the culmination of all three timelines, Ganon and the Master Sword are in Breath of the Wild. That's clear. So that means that Ganon and the Master Sword have to become relevant again in the adult timeline. How is that going to happen? So there's a lot of creativity and like fun speculation with theories that we could have there, but yeah, also Link. What happens to Link in Echoes of Wisdom? Was there a whole Zelda game leading up to Echoes of Wisdom? Like, did Link have to prove himself, right? Because Link never fights Ganondorf out of the blue in any Zelda game. He has to go through dungeons. He has to gain weapons, items.
We don't know. Also, like, I'm again saying this. We don't know if this is the same Link as A Link to the Past. This might be a new Link, entirely new Link, who's approaching Ganondorf, and we don't know his past. And we don't know his, like, current state. Maybe we get to even play as him in Echoes of Wisdom, because I remember in your reaction, you're like, are we gonna play as Link? Are we playing as Link? Do we get to play as Link? Are we playing as Link? So
I hope we do.
Maybe we can. I think Zelda will still have the starring role in this, but maybe near the end of the game, we might have some more involvement from Link as well. We'll see.
Or maybe they do like a meanwhile thing, where like maybe every time you beat a dungeon with Zelda and Echoes of Wisdom, it like cuts to Link for a little bit, and then you play as Link jumping around. I don't know, maybe something like that. But yeah, this like, just from one trailer, just these timeline possibilities are so much fun. And I really hope Nintendo does something creative. Like, I really hope.
Here's my biggest hope in my heart, that they're going to do something cool with this stuff. There's something that's been absent from the series for quite some time, and it is the series' iconic Triforce. What is the name of the fairy?
Try.
What is the name of the game? Echoes of Wisdom. And like, I mean, Echoes of Wisdom is just like recalling back to Zelda being the part of the wisdom, but like that is a Triforce. Like, that is her part of the Triforce. So like, please, for the love of God, Nintendo, bring back the freaking Triforce. Like, that's all we like. That's what I want. Like, bring back the Triforce.
You know what I saw? I saw a theory today by this guy called Observe Zelda Theories, and he brought up a great point. He literally said that at the end of A Link to the Past, you actually talk to the Triforce. You talk to something, the essence of the Triforce. It speaks to Link. And so if that's Tri, then there's the freaking, it's just
cool.
that's an explosion right there of theory possibilities, so I mean that's something, and they have not done that. They've never had like some sort of being that's related to the Triforce since like A Link to the Past right there.
Zelda
So
needs to do that, because that is very, I hate to always bring this up, but having a physical manifestation of a divine entity is so Xenoblade. Xenoblade does that all the time. Like, there's like moments in Xenoblade where you're just like interacting with someone, and then in the end of the game they're like, I'm God, and you're like, oh shit.
Holy cow.
Dude,
yeah, that's crazy.
So cool. It's so cool. Xenoblade is something. But yeah, anyways, any final things before we wrap it up? But I think we had a really, really awesome discussion.
Yeah, it was a great discussion. I mean, I have, like, when it comes to story and lore of both Metroid Prime 4 and Echoes of Wisdom, I really hope Nintendo takes advantage and delivers on both of them. I really think, I mean, it'd be more important for them to deliver story and lore on Prime 4. Like, Echoes of Wisdom could just have a basic story and it will probably still be good. But the thing is like, man, just seeing Echoes of Wisdom and Prime 4, I'm just like, all these theories are going through my head. I'm like, let's get something crazy. Sila, brother, let's get something crazy, please.
The thing that I'm like still coming to terms with is, this was a June 2024 Direct with all these games shown to us, when we thought that the September 2023 Direct was like Switch winding down, because I did not like that Direct. That was not a very fun Direct, in my opinion. And that was like a noticeable, like, hey, things are slowing down just a little bit. We're coming like to a little bit of a standstill. Switch 2 is coming very soon, so like trying to get all of this done. But then this Direct was like, you could have put this Direct in the middle of the Switch life cycle and no one would have like realized that this is a end of the life Switch Direct.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, and obviously Nintendo is gonna fulfill their regret with the Wii, which was not utilizing it when it already had that install base, that player base, and so they're gonna take advantage. They're gonna squeeze every last
they're riding it out in the end
out of the Switch, out of the Switch 1, the first generation of the Switch. Even going in, I wouldn't be surprised actually if it's similar to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, where the PS4, there's still some exclusives on it today. Like, there's still releasing some games like on PS4 alongside PS5 today. I think now it's finally starting to really wind down, but the PS5 has been out since what, 2020? And like 4 years. So I mean, I think the Switch could probably, after the Switch 2 releases, I see maybe like at least 3 years, after it's still going to receive like support. And so I don't really think anyone like, it's like, oh, it's winding down. I'm like, no, man, well, we clearly saw right now that they're bringing the punch and they're ready to roll on the Switch. And I do have to say though, the hardware is starting to get dated, especially with certain games. So it would be nice for the upgrade. But
before we finally close out Skylink Theory, or just Skylink, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you and what upcoming projects that you have? Because you've hinted at some in this video, but now's your chance to talk a little bit more about that.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. I loved being on here. And guys, so for anybody watching, I am Skylink Theory. I mainly do Zelda theories. I do theories on other stuff too. I actually did a theory on Paper Mario as well. I have that theory sit in me for so many years, and then once like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door came out, I could release it and it could be relevant, and I was so happy to release that theory. But I mainly do Zelda theories, of course. I would say like my most notable ones are on Ganondorf's legacy and who his successor could be after.
That was a good one. I love that video. That was great.
I also got really hypothetical and really speculative with the Light Dragon and its how would it exist in the time. And so I really got creative there. If you guys want to see that one is just pure like creativity with that. I also did like that Light Dragon theory I just mentioned. It's actually 3 to 4 parts. It starts with what if Link went back in time with Zelda, what that would have changed, and then it turns into the possibility of 3 timelines with Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and Age of Calamity. Mostly Age of Calamity is the one where it splits into 2 more. And then the one before the Light Dragon Paradox is the one on Zelda's message to the future with Sonia. That one was a doozy to make. That one took a lot of research. So if you want like a research filled one, check out that one. But I also stream every Thursday. I haven't missed, which is really good. I've done 10 weeks in a row. I'm very proud of myself.
Nice.
Playing Zelda and Mario
I gotta
Kart.
have that dedication.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, dude. It's hard. It's hard. I'm like very like, even though I'm proud of myself that I haven't messed up, like I'm also kind of surprised. I'm like, dang, I'm like, you know, because yeah. Anyway, but yeah, guys, that's what I mainly do. So if you want to check out my theories, please check that out. I have a video that's hopefully coming out this weekend or Thursday if it's not out this weekend, which is what we talked about a lot about Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom, which is embracing Zelda's creative future and if that's a good thing or a bad thing and the trade-offs that have to be made for that. And then, of course, finally, I have theories in progress, and especially I talked about some of them today, on Echo of Wisdom's timeline placement. And I have at least 4 ideas. I might even have a 5th. But yeah, guys, stay tuned to that. I'm probably going to do some more shorts as well. But yeah, anyway, Nishquick, thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me on here. It was great talking to you, man. And yeah, if you guys are watching this and you haven't subscribed to Nishquick Pops, what are you doing?
Yeah, definitely subscribe, like the video. Yeah. If you are still watching to the end of this discussion, I appreciate it. I knew I wanted to get you on for this because we were talking about the direct leading up to it and after it, and a lot of these announcements we all really enjoyed. But yeah, to everyone watching, thank you for watching. Give this video a like, subscribe for more content like this. This is Nishquick and Skylink Theory signing off. Have a great day. Go play some great games today, like just a whole bunch of games on the Nintendo Switch, like Metroid, Zelda, and more. I'll see you guys in the next one later.